So glad to be here with you. The Bay Area to Cronkite Sports Live anchor pipeline is as strong as it's ever been. This is going to be a good show. I'm stoked. The women now have their shot at the Wildcats Friday at 6 p.m. And Charlie Turner-Thorne's team is out for a little bit of revenge. When these two teams met on December 30th, Arizona State lost 51-39, putting up its worst scoring performance since February 2014. WCSN reporters Gareth Kwok and Jack Johnson were at the bank earlier this week to discuss the next contest in the Territorial Cup. While ASU basketball enters the middle of the Pac-12 schedule, Sun Devil softball is gearing up for its first tournament of the season, the Kajikawa Classic, starting on February 8th. And this year's team looks quite different from last year's group that made it to the Women's College World Series. And for more, I'm going to bring in WCSN softball reporter Troy Tauscher. And Troy, like I mentioned, a lot of changes between this year's team and last year's team. What would you say are maybe some of the most notable differences between the two squads? So you mentioned a couple of really key losses and a whole lot of new faces too. Who do you think can maybe step up to fill some of those shoes that might be missing? It might be safe to say Danae Chapman, one of the most underrated players of last year's team. And looking at years past, the softball and the Pac-12 has been absolutely incredible. You look at the Women's College World Series, a handful of teams from the Pac-12. So the league's been dominant for a long time. What does it look like in 2019? Conference of Champions in softball, the Pac-12. Really exciting stuff to look forward to this year. Troy, thank you so much for coming on. To follow ASU softball content starting next weekend and running all season long, head over to cronkitesports.com. On Saturday, Arizona State Baseball's Phoenix Municipal Stadium played host to Dingers in the Desert, a fundraiser for Project 34, an organization that was co-founded by former Sun Devil baseball players Corey Hahn and Trevor Williams. Project 34 supports those whose lives changed due to spinal cord injuries. Hahn saw his life change forever in February 2011. That was his freshman season at Arizona State, when he slid headfirst into second base and suffered a spinal cord injury that left him paralyzed from the chest down. Williams was also a freshman at the time. Hahn now works in the front office of the Arizona Diamondbacks, and Williams will begin his fourth season on a Major League roster with the Pittsburgh Pirates in 2019. The event itself was a home run derby, first a youth competition, then round 3 of an ongoing battle between ASU's Spencer Torkelson and Carter Aldretti. Torkelson won this time, but Aldretti still leads the season series 2-1. Finally, there was the pro portion, which included former Sun Devil Drew Stankiewicz and Major Leaguers Scott Kingery and Matt Davidson. Former Arizona Wildcat and current Boston Red Sox prospect Bobby Dahlbach won that round. What do you say, Andre? Time to have some fun?
Let's do it.
My favorite way to have fun is to go to Twitter. And to talk Twitter, we're going to bring in a Bay Area legend. As someone who grew up in the Bay Area and now goes to school at Arizona State, I didn't know that purple color was like actually a thing until seeing this tweet. Like,
yeah, no, absolutely.
The colors get that cold. To add to this, I feel like that's the reaction Greg Powers would have if he were standing on the bench for an ASU hockey game. It was like nailed by a puck in the mouth. He'd kind of just do that.
Chew it out a little bit.
Chew it out a little bit, maybe spit out a little blood, and just keep coaching the rest of the game like
absolutely.
He does. Thanks so much, Jacob. Number 15 Arizona State women's hockey hosted number 10 Minnesota this past weekend, dropping both games by scores of 5-1 and 6-1 respectively. On Friday night, Finn Larson scored against her hometown team, and goaltender Jordan Nash Bolden faced 58 shots in the 4-goal loss. The Gophers continued to pound the net Saturday, taking 62 shots on freshman goalie Macy Eide. Freshman Abby Steinman scored her second goal of the season, ASU's lone tally on the morning. The Sun Devils are off this weekend, but wrap up the regular season next weekend at home against rival Grand Canyon. Both games will be streamed at facebook.com/Cronkite Sports. Join myself and Reed Harmon on the call. This is going to sound super basic, but I think it's defense. We saw what Arizona did yesterday with only a small portion of their talent. So if ASU wants to have any chance in Tucson next week, they're going to not only need to shore up their defense over the next few weeks, but also really bring the defense down to Tucson. No, you're absolutely right. Now moving over from the court to Farrington Stadium, ASU softball. We talked about it earlier in the show with Troy, but they lost 2 of their best players from last season, Daniel Gibson, G. Wars, but they're still coming into this season ranked number 12 in the nation in the preseason poll. So do you think they're going to live up to the hype despite those 2 key losses? No, I think you're right. Trisha Ford, I was a little concerned about the clubhouse when those departures were going on, but I think this season's going to be good. The 2 transfer pitchers they brought in are not at all untalented. They're going to be very fun to watch in the circle this season. And on top of that, you have Danae Chapman at first base. She's no Danielle Gibson, but she put up great numbers in a short time, so I'm excited to see what she's capable of. Plus, pretty much the entire starting lineups are returning for softball, so I think they're going to be in good shape. There are 2 that come to mind for me. Both are coaches that I've had good conversation with. One, Lindsay Ellis of the ASU women's hockey team. I always have great time talking hockey with her. But Mike Early, the ASU baseball coach, I am down to talk with him at any point. He is a fantastic mind for hitting. He's just fun to talk to, and if I'm snowed in, that's who I want to talk to. It's an exciting time of the year. ASU softball opens up its season next weekend. That's actually likely what fans were saying at this time last year. Now the Sun Devils are without their All-American pitcher in G. Juarez and one of the Pac-12's best freshmen in 2018, Daniel Gibson. So that's not great. And on top of that, a handful of other players that played key roles transferred before the season started. Yet the team is ranked number 12 in the preseason polls, and ASU hasn't even been the worst victim of the NCAA transfer portal in the softball world. That's Oregon. They also lost their entire pitching staff, had internal miscommunication when it came to transfer eligibility, and to top it all off, saw one of their recent transfers, Maggie Ballant, speak out against the athletic department, program, and new head coach Melissa Lombardi all at the same time. So while on paper the season may not look that great for the Devils, it could be a lot worse. And even then, it won't be bad. Most of the starting lineup is returning, and those that are going to be filling departed roles are still incredibly talented. So gear up, ASU softball fans. This season won't be as bad as it may seem, and that's the way it is. We had some really good plays in the last week. This was a tough decision. The top 3 plays from Arizona State's athletics in the last week. And we're going to start off in Boston. Boston University, Agnes Arena. Brinson Pashnuk, he brought ASU within 1 goal. Look at him go. What a goal it was. That brought the score to 3-2. ASU did go on to lose to the Terriers 4-2, but it was a very close effort. What a goal from Brinson Pashnuk. Andre, that was great, but we have our top play. It's last night. ASU, Arizona, look at him go. Zylan Cheatham, holy cow. Unbelievable. The first time in 3 years ASU beats Arizona. Zylan Cheatham, that man is unreal. I'm going to be honest, I think those are 3 of the most impressive top plays I have ever seen. 2 incredible hockey plays, plus one of the most exciting moments of the ASU basketball season. Incredible.
Absolutely. You know, top plays, unparalleled. This show also, I'm going to go ahead and say it, unparalleled content from us as well.
Absolutely, no doubt. This is a great show. Andre, thank you so much for each and every one of you that joined us on this Friday evening. Thank you as well. We'll see you same time, same place next week. Until then, enjoy your February.